let this dry and I'm ready to move on. I had just a little bit of adhesive, liquid adhesive spill out right here. So I'm going to take, this is an adhesive eraser or remover or whatever, and I'm just going to go over that. And that's the great thing about using this particular liquid adhesive, is that you can just use an eraser and it comes right off. So the next thing I'm going to do is just kind of open this up, and I'm going to grab some string, and I like to just kind of leave mine on the bolt. And then the first thing you want to do is, like, this is the seam, so I like to make sure that it's pointed down, and then I'm just going to tie my bows. So I'm going to tie this piece right here, and then you just kind of, let's see, straighten it out, and then gently gather it up. Just be careful not to rip any of that, but it should gather up just fine. So before I do anything, I make sure, I like these poofed out, so make sure that those are pushed out, and then I just tie a simple bow, just like you were tying your shoes, however you tie a bow. And this is really, of course I have to do this on camera and it's really hard to see. Okay, and then the trick to bows is just, you just keep messing with it until you get it the way you want it. So I've got one end done. Make sure everything's poofed out down here. Now the trick here is, whatever you're going to put inside, you need to do it at this point, because once you seal these up, you don't want to have to open it back up. Now we're ready to move on to our front medallion. So this is the piece we're going to be doing right here. So I'm going to show you how to make this back here. So I'm going to set this to the side. Then I've taken a piece that's about 12 inches long of the crepe paper, and see, notice how this pink is on the outside, and so that's the piece I'm going to use here. And then I've folded it in half. Let's see, it's folded in half. Now I could have done this on the sewing machine, but I didn't want to have to run back down there. I didn't think of doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a running stitch, and I have a single piece of white thread, and it really doesn't matter what color because it's all going to be hidden. I put a knot in the end so that it doesn't slip through, and I'm just going to do a running stitch let's get this started, all the way down through here, and you just keep going. And you're really not wanting to gather it too much at this point, so your string does need to be long enough that you can straighten it out. So it needs to at least be probably 14 inches, your thread. So you're just going to keep going, and it doesn't have to be perfect because, like I said, you're not really going to see this. This is just to gather it up. So okay, so let me do that real quickly. Stitched all the way to the end, and I'm just going to leave my thread here. And then before I do anything else, at this point, this is where I want to cut my fringe. Now, I'm just going to start gathering. Let's gather that, pull it, and then I'm just going to take this, tie a little knot, and then just kind of give us a little bit of a, I don't know, flick with your fingers, kind of work that a little bit. A piece of designer series paper, and I have scored it. Well, the first thing I did was I cut it 1 inch wide by 3 inches long. And then I used the scallop edge punch, and then after I punch the edge, then it's only about 3/4 of an inch tall. And what I did was I scored in between each scallop. Then you just fold those up, kind of like a fan fold. Not kind of like, it is a fan fold. And then once you've got like that, you should have just a little piece left over. And that's what you need to make this work. Then you just open that back up, get you some glue, and just put a little dab of glue right there. And then you just put it like there and hold it for a moment until that glue dries. Now while that's drying and I get ready to move on to the next step, let me show you what I did for the center of the flower. You will need a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and then I'm going to use the Melon Mambo pad. And then I'm going to use this thank you from the Label Something stamp set. So let's just ink this up. And I think my pad is just a little dry, but it'll work for the purposes of this video. And then I'm just going to stamp. And I always count to 5 and then release. So that's pretty good. I'm not going to bother to re-ink it for now. Then 7th, I'm going to use the scallop. I'm just going to slip that in here. And then when I have everything lined up just right, give that a punch. Okay. So now set that aside, and then I'm going to show you how to make the rosette. There's some little tips I want to show you. So first thing I do is I get a silicone mat. This is from, I think this is from the main catalog. I'll have to look up the number for you. And then a glue gun. And we're going to take, let's see, my tip is, let's see how to explain this. So you're going to pinch that up and together, and then I slip a paper towel roll, just a piece of one, around, and this kind of keeps the shape uniform. And yes, you will have to wrestle it. See, it happens to all of us. And I'm just going to put some glue right down there in the center of the rosette. Set that off to the side for just a minute, and you need to hold that for just a minute and let that cool down and solidify. And you don't have to worry because you have the silicone mat underneath. Even if it drips all the way through, you don't have to worry about it sticking to any paper or anything. It'll just come right off. So you really, if you own a hot glue gun, you definitely need a silicone mat to go with it. So I'm going to do that, and while that is cooling just a little bit, I'm just going to put just a little bit more here on the top, and then you're just going to take the one that we just stamped, the little thank you, and hold that, and then you can slip this off, and you have a little rosette. And this is just perfect for these boxes. Made just in the last video. Then we're just going to put a little bit of hot glue right here in the center. And then we're going to take the little, I don't even know what you want to call this crepe paper adornment. Oh, that sounds good, doesn't it? It sounds really professional. Okay, and then we're just going to put a little bit of glue on the back side of the rosette. Oops. Okay. And you're just going to place that right there in the center and hold it for a minute until it sets. Okay, so we're good. Now let me show you the difference. This one is the original one, and I have really fluffed this out, and then this one's just kind of, everything's just the way it is. So I really like it. It looks more like a party going on here. So we've got this fluffed up and ready to go. Do not fluff this if you haven't stuffed it, because once you fluff the ends, you are not going to get anything past there. It'll be a really big headache. Trust me, okay? I know. So there we have it. that's how you make the party poppers, aka candy wrapper boxes. And so I hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. And you're going to hold that down, and then you're just, I like to just take mine, and it really helps if you turn your glue gun on. So let me do that and warm it up, and then I'll come back.